The next thing that's important is selecting an appraiser. A lot of people think that appraisers are appraisers. And one of the important things that I try to impress upon people is that not all appraisers are equal, and not all appraisers will be appropriate for the assignment that you would be facing in an eminent domain case. And I will provide you with some kind of examples to help you appreciate that. First of all, eminent domain is kind of an oddball, quirky area of the law. So there are a lot of appraisers that don't have a lot of experience doing eminent domain. And primarily what you're dealing with is how to evaluate and determine severance damages. This is a valuation concept that is really unique to eminent domain. So if you have an appraiser that doesn't have the kind of experience or background with eminent domain cases, you could very well select on your own an appraiser who would just not understand the full level of components of severance damages that should be included in your case to make sure you're getting your full amount of just compensation. Second of all, eminent domain, as you may or may not have picked up through following this video series, has a lot of areas in it that I would say are gray areas. There are a lot of areas that are not black and white. It's not always this way or always that way. And these areas of grayness, if you will, frequently arise in all of the concepts that need to be determined with regards to determining just compensation. Because of that, an appraiser is going to have a certain degree of latitude with regards to how they look at a particular issue in doing the assignment. It's not that one way is right or one way is wrong. In many assignments, there are two possible different ways to do it, and the different ways may very well be grounded in an interpretation of law, because law does affect how valuation is done in this case. If you on your own select an appraiser that does a lot of work for condemning authorities, when that appraiser is confronted with a gray area that would have one way being what I'll call a condemned nor favored methodology, and another way being a property owner favored methodology, chances are very high, since this may be the only time that you ever work with this appraiser, that he's going to simply default to what he's normally accustomed to doing, which is defaulting to the condemn nor, or condemning authorities, appraisal methodology. What that does is basically, you may, if you select that appraiser not knowing this, you have effectively selected an appraiser that has not evaluated your case to the full extent that you might be entitled under the rules of eminent domain as they apply to property owners, simply because you have selected an appraiser that has defaulted to the condemn nor's position in those gray areas. It's not to say that he's wrong. It's not to say that either way is wrong. But there are so many areas in eminent domain that have these gray areas that if you select the wrong appraiser, that can be detrimental and even fatal to your determination of just compensation in your case. Because even if you ultimately hire a new appraiser later because that original one was wrong, that original appraisal is still discoverable and can be used against you when you might ultimately pursue your case if it has to go all the way to court.